Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is Living in Denver, Colorado, and today we're going to cover the pros and cons of living in Arvada, Colorado.
Let's go. Welcome back to another video. We are the Mile High Property Brothers, Eli Schmidt and Will Grimes. And if it's your first time visiting our channel, definitely make sure that you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to get notified every time we come out with a new video, especially if you're planning on moving to Colorado or checking out some new areas. We come out with videos twice a week about every neighborhood, every city, everything there is to live and do in Colorado.
Right, so like it if you like it, guys. If you have any specific questions, we are licensed realtors in the state of Colorado. As much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you guys with your real estate needs. So again, text, phone call, whatever that is, we are the ones that respond to text messages. We are the ones that are taking phone calls. We had some phone calls from Australia the other day.
Yeah.
I've gotten some interesting text messages at 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun, but in all seriousness, if you guys do have any needs, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you guys. But with that being said, we're going to get into it. Right now, we're going to cover pros and cons of Arvada, Colorado.
Starting off with location. So where does Arvada fall in relation to Denver and the rest of the city? So Arvada is northwest of Denver, the state's capital, as many of you should know. But what I like about Arvada, guys, I guess I'll jump into a pro, right? Since I'm already saying what I like about it. It's a very, very good blend of being on the west side of town, so you definitely get more of a mountain feel, right? But what I like about Arvada is its number one thing here is history. And Arvada was one of the first places that they discovered gold when the gold rush was happening.
Not one of the first, the first.
The first
Don't take credit away from Arvada. I don't want any Arvadians watching this saying, not one of the first, the first.
Documented, the first documented. I don't doubt that there is some old boy up in the stream somewhere in the mountains that probably found some gold, right?
Conspiracy theorists, can you tell?
So the first documented, yeah, what's that called? Like Gold Gate, we need a word for it. Yeah, Arvada Gate. Off track. So Arvada was one of the first places where they documented finding gold in Colorado, and they've done a phenomenal job. That's our word of the channel, in case you guys haven't noticed. They've done a phenomenal job of making sure that they keep the historic charm that you'll find here, especially in downtown. So we're in downtown right now. It's called Old Town Arvada, and there's like just little antique mining things randomly all over town. It's a pretty small downtown area, a ton of breweries.
Really cool little Army surplus store, military surplus store.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries.
A lot of breweries, a lot of restaurants, and overall, guys, like Arvada just kind of has a good, chill, laid-back vibe. It almost has a hint of like what some typical mountain towns feel like, you know, kind of a main downtown area that's kind of small, but a lot of people eating outside. Everyone's pretty friendly. They've got their dogs out down here like you do all over Colorado. So I guess number one pro would be the history and the vibe that you get from Arvada.
That'd be two. He's hogging it. Well, let's continue. Let's roll. Let's keep going right with the other pros. Another pro for me, obviously, I love putting that business hat on. Cost of Arvada.
Yes. Average home price $450. FYI.
So a lot more affordable than Denver city limits, whether it's downtown or within like the city and county of Denver, and you're in one of those suburbias. Percentage-wise, cost-wise, definitely a lot more affordable than Denver, but you're not too far away. So if your commute is into Denver Tech Center, you're not terribly far, probably a 45-minute drive, but you're closer to the mountains and some other stuff. So maybe if you want to get out on the weekends and that's more important to you, you're closer to that. A little bit of a drive for work, but definitely a pro for me. If you guys have any questions specifically about cost, in addition to just home prices and how much better Arvada is, we did a cost of living in Denver video. We go over taxes, grocery prices, gas prices, a lot of that. is very similar across the Denver metro area, and it applies to everyone. The way that they do taxes here, not much different from county to county. So please take a look at that. That's a whole nother video. We'd be duplicating it if we were talking on this one. So please check out cost of living in Denver. It does apply to how you look at it in Arvada. But as far as price homes, significantly more affordable than Denver.
It is, and while we're comparing it to Denver, I think it's also very important to compare it to Boulder. So we're about 35 minutes from Boulder right now, and a lot of people who are looking to be in and around Boulder, or they're going to be working in Boulder, they're looking at Arvada for their homes because it has, again, like I said, a lot of that charm, but it's way, way more affordable, and overall it has just more of a Colorado feel than a lot of other Colorado cities.
Right, another pro, family vibe, very family oriented. Property lots, so if you buy like a single family home out here, still some decent sized yards, good family lots, again, a lot of recreational areas as far as parks, places to take your dogs. We kind of hit on that when Eli was talking about all of his pros and his opinion. So that's there, but definitely a lot to look forward to.
Yes, yeah. Let's get into a con, shall we?
Let's do it. All right. Now that we've gone all over the majority of the pros, at least from our opinion, let's get right into the cons. Definitely a big one to make sure that you are careful with and you have the right type of insurance, and that is parts of Arvada are in a flood zone. Don't get super fearful of that. It doesn't mean that a flood is actually going to happen. There's a lot of precautions with that. There is a extra layer of insurance on that, and depending on how deep in a flood zone you are, it could cost up to a couple $100 more per month for that type of insurance in addition to your mortgage payment. So when looking for homes, it's okay if you're in a flood zone. A lot of times it's never even used. A lot of times it is. Make sure your realtor, whether it's us or whoever you're working with, really dial that in as far as like how risky, how far into a flood zone are you? How often has a flood happened there where insurance was required? The cost of insurance that it might have. So it's not a hard no, because it is in some of these areas are in a flood zone. It's not a hard no. You just got to make sure you do your research and just take a look into how many times floods have actually happened. The biggest thing on the flood insurance, if it's needed, it's not so much that a flood's going to happen. Very rarely have we heard of any houses having actual problems. It's more about the cost. If that's an extra $200 on top of your mortgage, that might be a deterrent for a flood zone.
And on top of your other insurance payment.
On top of your other insurance, right. So that might be more of the deterrent versus an actual flood happening is just being cautious having to pay for some things like that.
Now, while we are on the cons, not that this is a con per se, but for some people it might be. If you're moving to Colorado, and schools are your number one priority, then you might want to shop around a little bit. So Arvada uses Denver Public Schools, DPS, and not terrible, but also not the greatest, right? As far as school ratings go, not giving my opinion, just school ratings. Now here's the thing. There's private schools everywhere. There's STEM schools everywhere. You guys have a lot of options. So,
I feel like he's trying to make this a pro.
Well, it's the truth, because if you are looking
what's
for
the grade?
No, I don't know off the top of my head.
C minus C.
Sure.
We'll post it in the text below. From what we hear, elementary level schools in Denver tend to do really well. It's the junior highs and high schools that don't do so well per grading systems. Look that up. We'll put some links inside as far as the text below these videos, where to find grading systems for Denver Public Schools and for the surrounding schools. But as far as grading system, it's definitely not a Cherry Creek schools.
Yeah.
I think it'd be okay to say that in regards to the grading scale. However, there's a lot of charter schools and private schools available out here. Some of them at no to low cost. That might be the reason for some of the lower grades, because it's just more participation with parents at private and charter schools. So again, not a hard no, but take a look into that. A lot of great people come out of Denver. Definitely something to look into. Again, you don't have to say hard no, but just do your homework on that. Even if you don't have kids, it's nice when you are in good school districts, because whoever's going to be buying your home might have kids, and that gives great resale availability for you. So still something to think of whether you have kids or not.
Very true. Going on to another con. So you get a lot of snow up here compared to the rest of the state. Because you're on the western slope, more or less, we're close to the mountains, you tend to get a little bit more heavier snow here, just like because you're in that Boulder area, right? So, and from talking to some locals here, they have expressed how the city is not the greatest at clearing the streets, in particular the downtown area. But again, if you're moving here, you're probably not moving here to avoid snow, right? So that might not be a big con for you. It might be a pro. You probably like the winter.
You do, but at the same time, because Colorado is so used to snow in our public systems as far as plowing snow, it's pretty spot on. A lot of people are required to go to work. A lot of kids are required to go to school because they do a great job with the cities and counties getting all the snow out of the way. So if Arvada is not doing the best job doing that kind of stuff, and you work in Denver and they are doing a great job, or you work in the Denver Tech Center and they do a great job and they still expect you to be at work, they're not doing the best job out here. That could still be some friction for you. So definitely something to look into. That could also be something that is consistently improving, and maybe there were some things last year or the year before that were not so good, and Arvada has done some improvements to make that better. Definitely go on to sites like that. Definitely go on to forums and see and ask those questions. If Arvada is still not adequate with plow, that could just be a couple people's opinions. We've seen it on a couple of forums. We've spoke to the public. It's still an opinion. We don't want to just say something that's set in stone and put a black eye on a great spot. But do your own research, dive in detail if that's something that would matter to you, and just make sure that you've done that homework. And again, weigh your own pros and cons, is figure out cost-wise, commute to work-wise, school-wise, location-wise for doing some things in the mountains, the history and feel of a neighborhood that you like. My favorite part is just how family-oriented it is, how kind, how nice people are here, the history here. I would feel comfortable raising my family here. For me, that matters most. If I gotta drive in the snow a little bit more to make sure that Ela and I are doing what we have to do work-wise, but my family, I feel like my family's safe when I'm gone, utmost, right? And if affordability is something else, like if I want a nice home, bang for buck, and I don't want to pay, what you have to pay for in Denver, bang for buck out here for $500,000, I can have a huge house with all of the amenities. I know there's some new builds that are popping up out here. If I can have that, and the culture and the feel of the neighborhood are good, and I feel safe here with my family, utmost. So again, when you guys are making these purchases, especially if you come from out of state, there's gonna be pros and cons to every area. Hence why we have so many pros and cons to so many different areas. We want to give you guys as much information as possible. But again, I don't think there's any hard no's out here as far as like just stay away from it. I don't think that's the case at all.
No, I would say, guys, by far the pros far outweigh the cons. There's not. I mean, we're trying hard to find some cons. We're talking about how they plow the streets. We're trying hard to find some cons in Arvada. And overall, guys, and this is another pro, right? The desirability of even locals that we have. There's a lot of people shopping for homes up here. A lot of people want to be in Arvada. I can't think of one bad thing that locals would think about Arvada. Like there's no like, oh, Arvada, ugh. Nothing like that. People love Arvada. It's proximity to Boulder. It's proximity to Denver. The scenery, the historic culture that they have here, guys. It's a good spot. If you're into that sort of stuff, you're going to love it.
If you like going down south to Colorado Springs or Castle Rock, this might be a little bit far for some things like that, so definitely take a map, look at the surrounding areas. But if you're considering any suburban area in regards to Denver metro area and you're moving out here, or maybe you're from here and you're just not familiar with Arvada, definitely put this one on your list, take a look, turn that stone, give it the time that it warrants, and just get an opinion for yourself.
That's it.
Guys, that's it. A lot of great pros, a couple of different cons that we were digging for. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you guys have any questions, we are licensed realtors in the state of Colorado. That number down below, call it, text it. We answer those phone calls. We do reply to those text messages. As much as we love to make these videos, we would love more to help you guys with your real estate needs. But with that being said, that's about it we got for pros and cons of Arvada. We've got some more information coming up on Arvada very soon. But until then, we will see you guys on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Take care.